And we kick off this evening with a look at the cinema.
I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema.
It's beautiful, beautiful cinema.
Cinema history come to life.
I found my solace in the small cinema I went to every Thursday night.
I'm a professor of cinema.
I go to the cinema for the stories.
There was no competition between the cinema and seminar.
I mean, it's not within the realm of conventional cinema.
And now,
here's Payson Johnson
for the cinema review.
It is Monday, February 16th, 2026, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Cinemaster's Reviews. Hope everyone had a nice Valentine's Day. Hope everyone's having a nice President's Day today, enjoying that 3-day weekend. If you have a job that you have off, if not, we all really appreciate the work you're doing. But you didn't come here for appreciation. You came here to hear my thoughts about movies, and we have a exciting show this week. We're going to be reviewing two movies, Wuthering Heights, the recent adaptation, as well as Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, a new original sci-fi film. I'm excited. I say we jump right into the show. Starting with our first review tonight, Wuthering Heights, directed by Emerald Fennell and based off the famous Emily Bronte novel from the 19th century. This is a legendary story, so I'll try to summarize it as best as I can. This is the story about two starting out kids by the names of Catherine and Heathcliff. Heathcliff is brought into this wealthy family or wealthier family, and him and Kathy very much hit it off as young kids. It seems like they have like childhood love, even though they are like technically adopted siblings. You can very clearly tell they have feelings. You flash forward to when they are adults. Heathcliff has become essentially a blue collar worker. Kathy doesn't want to marry her because she views marrying Heathcliff as a disgrace and as a dishonor towards her class. She ends up marrying a richer man, and Heathcliff goes away. He comes back and learns that, and he has become a lot more wealthy. He learns that his family actually was he actually did come from a very powerful background before he was found by Kathy's family, and he has purchased Wuthering Heights, and more conflicts arise from their romance. From what I have gathered, I did a little bit of research on the book of Wuthering Heights. This Emily Bronte and her sister, Charlotte Bronte, who wrote Jane Eyre, they were known as sort of like a little bit more like a little bit less classy than the other Victorian style writers of the time, like Jane Austen and others. They were very much fond of tackling more of like the darker side of romance. And it honestly makes sense that Emerald Fennell, a filmmaker who is known for taking big swings, who has sort of made a name for herself in tackling very like taboo subjects in a way, always making sort of like pulpy versions of these stories. It makes sense to see her tackle a story like Wuthering Heights. And watching this film, I can say, well, I can see why certain people are not going to like it. I walked away having a really, really great time, and I really appreciated what Emerald Fennell brought to this story. She's very much interested in the not necessarily like the budding romance of Kathy and Heathcliff, but more so more so the build up to that tension of when their affair finally commences. Also very much interested in the darker aspects of these characters. What makes them so what essentially makes them the way they are? Why are they so selfish? Why do they act and destroy the lives of people around them? And I think what Emerald Fennell brings to the stories are really, really well done. I will say I am a sucker for gothic romance stories like this. Crimson Peak is a movie I really, really champion from the 2010s. I like it when you can take a period set film and really like really tackle like the creepy elements, get a lot of like dark tapestries in there, get a lot of shots of like really like gross wooden trees, but also combine that with like really beautiful costumes, really beautiful production. And I think this movie does a really great job at doing that. I love how Wuthering Heights looks, of just looking like sort of like the standard house. And when you get to the when you get to the Linton estate, when Kathy marries into that estate, you see like the different styles and the different class of characters in this film through the production. I think that's really well done. The cinematography is done by Linus Sandgren, who, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the better cinematographers working today. If you saw La La Land or Babylon or First Man, Don't Look Up, which I think is a terrible film, but he shot that movie. He also did Saltburn, so he did Emerald Fennell's previous film. He knows how to make just really gorgeous and beautiful shots, and the way how he films just the vistas and the landscape of this film, and really captures 18th century England in such a great way. I really just found myself invested. There are two shots in this movie that still stick with me after seeing it. One of them is where Kathy and Heathcliff are just walking through a field, and Heathcliff just ends up putting Kathy on a tree to annoy her because she can't get down. And the way how it's shot from like where you just see Kathy's silhouette on this tree as like the tree is sort of like angling out, really well done shot. And also when Heathcliff leaves Wuthering Heights in order to try and make a name for himself, it really reminds me of like Gone with the Wind-esque sunset shot, or like an Apocalypse Now-esque sunset shot. I think I think the cinematography is really well done in this movie. I can't see anyone really having an issue with the technical aspects of the film. Also, the costume design really well done. The costumes don't look necessarily like period accurate from what I've heard. It seemed like Fennell was very much just more interested in making very showy costumes, making very pretty looking costumes. I didn't have an issue with that. I didn't think it was that distracting, but I did just want to mention that. What is going to divide some people on this movie is the romance and the depth of the story in general. I will say that if you view this movie as a straight romance film, I think you are going to be a little disappointed, because I do think the love story of Kathy and Heathcliff is a little shallow, albeit as well a little creepy when you really think about it. Because part of me was thinking about this movie of like, these two are technically siblings, and we're maybe supposed to be rooting for them to get together. Kind of seems like it's part of that like whole like Game of Thrones, oh, is incest sexy in a way. Kind of weird there. But I think the reason why this works is because Fennell is just much more interested in how these characters manipulate themselves and other people around them in order to get what they in order to get what they want. I think the performances from both Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie are really good. Jacob Elordi especially really brings the vulnerability of Heathcliff in the first act, of being very much like, you can very clearly tell that he is self-conscious of the fact that he doesn't come from a good background, and the fact that he is not to Kathy's liking. And even though they clearly do like each other, when you see in the scenes where Catherine and Heathcliff are alone, that Catherine does have feelings for him, Heathcliff just can never quite can never measure up to that because of the situation he was born into. And then when Heathcliff comes back, and he is now of a much higher status, he is wearing those like that gothic black costume you probably saw in the trailers. He's coming up from a much more confident point of view. And then towards the end of the film, where he starts taking matters into his own hands in order to get back at Kathy, because Kathy refuses to go with him. I think Elordi is both able to capture the vulnerability of Heathcliff, the confidence of Heathcliff, and also the like sinister nature of this character really well. And I think And I think the movie being so interested in that aspect of the character makes it a really interesting story to watch. Most of the other performances are really good. As I said, Margot Robbie brings her like leading lady esque energy to the character of Kathy. Hong Chau is in this movie. She plays Nellie, who is Kathy's housekeeper. She's a really fun character because she's the only one that sort of sees both Kathy and Heathcliff for what they are, of just being like, you two are so selfish and just so out of each other's depths. The fact that you guys don't realize that you guys are made for each other is kind of crazy. But for me, my favorite performance of the movie came from Alison Oliver, who was in Fennell's previous film, Saltburn. She plays the character of Isabella, who becomes this character that takes a liking to Heathcliff when he comes back. I don't want to spoil too much about where this character goes, but Allison plays this character in a very wide-eyed way, but also knows what she wants in love, and I think that was a really, really fun portrayal of the character, and added a very creepy element towards the third act of the film, to say the least. I will say, if you've seen the trailers, you can probably tell this movie is trying to sell itself on, oh, this is going to be the story of Wuthering Heights as you've never seen it before. It is really trying to delve more into like the sexualized side of it, and I think Fennell is just more interested in the build up and the foreplay to these characters having an affair than the actual more than actually showing the sex on screen. When I think about the opening of this film, the opening starts with you just hearing like this male grunt and grunt and grunt. You think you're about to witness this really like sexual moment, and then we see that you're actually listening to the grunts of a character getting hanged. So the movie definitely has a sort of sense of humor to that. When you actually have the moments of the characters like truly yearning after each other, I think that was really, really well done. I just don't think it's quite as explicit as some people might be expecting from the trailers. But yeah, I can definitely tell this will be a polarizing film, and I don't think it quite sticks to the landing in every single aspect. But I think Emerald Fennell, what she does best is she directs her movies in such a big way. She comes from a music video background, so she often can direct her movies where it feels like you're watching montages. And I think for what we got, I think it was a really, really well done film. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, 0 being awful, 10 being 10 being incredible, I'm going to go pretty high. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think this is a really, really great period gothic drama. Really great performances from its stars. Technically, it looks beautiful. And I think having Emerald Fennell, I get her style isn't for everyone. I haven't really hated a single movie of hers. I like them different quality, but this could be my favorite movie she's done, mainly just because I like that she is interested in the campy aspects of this novel while also delving into the darker aspects. And I think that's done really, really well. I would recommend you see it in theaters, mainly because the production is so strong. But yeah, this one does get a recommendation from me. But let's head on to our second review of the night, that being Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. This is directed by Gore Verbinski. You might know that name from the director of the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, director of The Lone Ranger, Rango, A Cure for Wellness. He's in a very, very lucrative career. The American remake of The Ring. This is his first film in... Oh, got some on my teeth. Got it. This is his first film in about 9 years, since 2017's A Cure for Wellness. And this movie follows a time traveler of no name, just known as the Man from the Future, played by Sam Rockwell. This movie opens up with him landing in front of a diner, and he essentially tells the people in the diner that he comes from a future where AI is taken over, and he has been sent back to essentially insert a kill code into the main AI before it is uploaded, in order to not necessarily kill the AI, but to control the AI in a way that that only humans in the future have truly learned how to do before it is too late. He gathers a large group of people that are going to help him literally not even go from like city to city. It is from a few blocks over to another. before the already AI taking over cops and AI taking over people figure out that he's back in the past and try to take him down. He is followed by a group of a couple played by Michael Pena and Zazie Beetz, a recently childless mother played by Juno Temple, as well as a 20-something who really seems to have nothing to lose, played by Haley Lou Richardson. And you just watch these watch this group as well as a couple other actors, but you just watch these this group try to get from point A to point B while also learning about each of the characters' backstories. Gore Verbinski is a director. Even if I don't like all of his movies, I like that he's always willing to tell movies from his own point of view and with a large amount of style. And after watching Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, I am so happy that we have Gore Verbinski making movies again, because this is the type of original sci-fi, of original movie making, specifically original science fiction, that I really, really feel like I can get behind. First off, the fact that Gore Verbinski was only able to make this movie for $20 million, I think is kind of crazy. If you look at the budgets for those Pirates movies, you can see how expensive they are. And it costs a lot of money to shoot on water and to make CGI water like that. Those movies have a ton of CGI. So seeing that Gore can also bring his budgets down to the level where hopefully they can get funded, I think is really impressive. This movie has a lot of really cool effects, has a lot of practical stuff, has a lot of action going on. So the fact that he was able to keep this budget down to such a responsible level, I think should be celebrated in a way, because that's how we can get more original movies if they aren't skyrocketing the budget like certain ones are. I don't want to be like one of those people that like really obsesses over the budget of movies, but I do think it should be celebrated when you do have a situation like this. I think like more than half the reason why this movie works is because Sam Rockwell is so much fun as the lead character. This character is bumbling. He feels like he's drunk half the time, but he also has such like a headstrong view of like, no, we have to do this mission. This is the only way we can protect humanity. And Sam Rockwell just seems just kind of perfect for that role of this guy that like you're always questioning like, wait, why is this the guy that was sent back? Why is he the one we have to be following? But because he's so positive, because he's so charismatic, you can't help but root for him. Most of the humor that he delivers is really, really funny. Oftentimes he ends up getting the characters into bad situations, which only makes the other characters question, wait, why are we following you? But Rockwell is just so tailor-made for this role. This is one of my favorite roles I think I've seen from him in a while, and it's so much fun when a director is given the chance to be the lead in a film, because I think he's really really well utilized when he is. I believe he's going to be the lead in the new Martin McDonagh movie coming out this year. Very excited for that one. But yeah, as I said, this movie has a really big cast. Zazie Beetz, Michael Pena, Juno Temple. Juno Temple is playing a very like sort of reserved character because of the tragedy that she goes through. So she isn't maybe given like a ton of stuff to do from the surface. I still think what she's given to do is really well done. But I think the person that shines, minus Sam Rockwell, is Haley Lou Richardson. She's an actress that I've enjoyed seeing her in the past, whether it's on White Lotus, Edge of 17, After Yang. I think she's really well done. She's a really great actress, and I love throughout the first half of this movie where you just see this character that feels depressed, but is also just like, yeah, sure, I'll help you. I got nothing to lose. And then going back and seeing her backstory where you see when she did have a little bit of light in her eyes when she found this guy that she felt like was her match. You learn that she has this condition that's really rare where if you've seen Better Call Saul, she kind of has that disease that Chuck has of like being allergic to electronics. That's also why she's like wants to stop the AI takeover, because she realizes, hey, if the AI take over, I'm kind of screwed because I won't be able to go anywhere. And how she becomes more motivated. Haley Lou Richardson adds a lot of heart to this movie. I think her character is a lot of the heart of the film and why it works in general. The humor of this movie is incredibly dark. We get a little snippets from the past, specifically with Juno Temple's character. We learn that her son died in a school shooting, which essentially has just become sort of like just like essentially like a bad day of weather in this world where like the characters just act like, oh, another school shooting's happening. Okay, let's go get in our bunker. Really wild things the movie's saying there. I think you can probably pick up on the commentary there. I think it's really well done. There's this hilarious scene where Juno Temple is making her new kid, because we learned that if your child dies, the government will essentially fund a replacement for your kid, and you will get it even cheaper if you decide to put ads into your kid. So they just like spout off ads. And when she's making her kid, I just love seeing like the screen of all the character traits you can add. Like there's like, oh, for hobbies you can pick doxing. For character weaknesses, you can put emotionally unhinged or rapey, and just movie has a very dark sense of humor, but it really worked for me. I really love the commentary with Michael Pena's character. He plays this teacher who is like so out of his element, now substitute teaching in a just completely technology-driven world where all the kids are in their phone. A movie has a lot of commentary to say on how we have sort of lost ourselves, both in being so relying on technology and also being so relying on AI. And the movie says like, hey, that's not a good thing at all. And if we are going to be humans, if we are going to stand our ground, we need to say like, hey, AI is AI and we are humans, and that's what makes us special. And I really like what Gore is stating about like trying to be careful of just adopting these new technological advances just because they feel cool and shiny. If I were to talk about some things I didn't love about this movie, I will say, while I did enjoy that you got to see all the characters' backstories, I think it wasn't handled maybe in the most clear way. I think we probably could have changed like the order of some of the backstories that were given to us. There was a twist that happens around the third act of the film that I felt like was super telegraphed. With everything that we learn about just one of the characters' motivations, and I think if you maybe could have fixed the narrative of the movie just a little, I think it would have. I personally think it could have been handled a little bit better. And just one other negative, while I did really enjoy the humor of this movie, there's one point where I think it goes a little bit too over the top for me, where it just seems like a little too silly and a little too like toilet humor-esque. And I think if you could have cut that, I think that was probably the moment in the movie where I was kind of rolling my eyes a little. And it reminded me less of The Curse of the Black Pearl, Gore Verbinski, more of The At World's End, Gore Verbinski, if I were to give a comparison. But other than that, I think this was a really well done movie. The ending of this movie, it almost sort of teases you like when the main characters where you seem like the day is saved. You learn that no, it's not. You think you're about to go through like another like a fourth act that's going to be another 20 minutes, but no, the movie really wraps up in a strong way after that. Has a phenomenal final scene that leaves you with such like a fist pumping moment in such a cool way. And I think it leaves you on a really good note. I really liked Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I'm going to give it a very solid 8.5 out of 10. These are the types of movies I wish we got more of, just original sci-fi that has something on its mind, but is mainly just focused on just being super entertaining. I love seeing Sam Rockwell in this element, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. It's rare we get original movies like this anymore, so I would highly recommend you go check this one out in theaters. But that brings us to the end of our show this week. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the video so it helps grow our channel a lot. Next week, I'm going to be reviewing how to make a killing, as well as Psycho Killer. Really excited to talk with you guys about that. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all had a very nice 3-day weekend. And as always, watch more movies.
And the award for most vapid film review of the century goes to...
Okay, movie review. Okay, I thought it was beauty.
And he's now in cinema hell, where one day we'll all be reunited.
This is me at the Regal Cinema crying as I did through much of the film.